Hello, everyone. I wanted to come today and have our power parenting session for today. We didn't want to miss that. I know I'm on a little bit later. I like to do it like 7:15. We typically try to do that first Tuesday of every month, but if it's a longer month like this one that has 5 weeks, we will kind of move it down to the second Tuesday, which is today. So we scheduled it for today so that we can touch base with the parents if someone's able to join us live or this being available as a replay, just to gain some information to help us navigate this thing called parenting. There's not a cookie cutter. We say it all the time. We're all working this out for the betterment of our children and the next generation and our future leaders. So anything that we can do to share and empower each other is very, very significant and important, and we don't want to take that for granted. So I did want to jump on and not miss this opportunity. We have some students that are recently in school for probably the last week or so. And then we have some that are starting tomorrow. When we think about the Kentucky-Anna area, Kentucky, Southern Indiana area, some have been in school a short time and some are about to start school. So this is great information for us as parents. Our goal this year is to make sure that our children have a more stabilized year in the sense of their emotional intelligence. So we will be sharing things that will help nurture that. POWER stands for Parents Overcoming with Wisdom, Education, and Resources. So our goal is to provide wisdom among each other because we all have our life story that lends to us some great wisdom that we can share and pour into each other. Help each other learn certain things that we utilize that can may help us in our journey with our children and our families. The education piece, there are times that we'll have different people that come on and join us to provide some different avenues of education in a particular field or topic. And then, of course, the resources. Anything that we learn, we're going to strive to give that so that it is helping you along the way. So we'll do that continually throughout the school year, but we want to start off on the right foot. And today, one of the topics I just wanted to touch on real quick is something near and dear to me, which deals with temperaments and personalities. Our temperament is, we're just naturally born with our temperament. There's nothing we can do about it. Um, that you can look back throughout your years, younger up until today, and different things that are prevalent to you and your temperament throughout your lifetime because you didn't ask for that. But our temperament is shaped through our environment, which forms our personality. And sometimes that can be stifled or suppressed. So that's why I try to share this information so that we're well aware of why we do what we do, why we respond the way that we respond. It's been a game changer for me. It helped me. I wish I would have learned this earlier, this information. And so that's why I strive my best to make sure that I provide this to every young person that I encounter so they can better be equipped to understand themselves. They're shaping and forming, of course, in this adolescent stage, their identity. And I think learning this information is important to that. Also, it helps the teen parent connection, which we're a great advocate for that. We push for that all the time, making sure we're creating those pathways for greater communication and connection with our young people in a time where they're trying to separate from us. How do we shift and what that relationship looks like and still give them connection? I shared something recently in the story that was from, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I thought it was really good. It says, this year, when you hear or you encounter a young person, and you may find yourself saying, oh, they're just, let me get it correct. It says, every time you think of calling a kid, and this is in quotes, attention seeking this year, and I'm going to add this school year in. I put school year myself, but it doesn't say that. It says this year. Consider changing it to, in quotes, connection seeking. And see how your perspective will change. And I'm gonna give credit. That's Dr. Jody Carrington. She's a psychologist. I thought that was very powerful, very simplistic, but it makes you stop and pause and think. So I'm gonna say it again so that you can think about this throughout the year when you encounter our young people. Every time you think of calling a kid, in quotes, attention seeking, like, oh, they're just trying to seek attention, consider changing it to connection seeking. and see how your perspective changes and how your interaction with that young person will change. When you see them as they're not just necessarily seeking attention, they're looking for connection. Aren't we all looking for connection? We have adults still looking for connection. So, how much more our young people? So, let's think about that this year. And this is one tool I'm just going to go through just really quickly to help you hopefully bridge that gap of connection for our young people. And that is Real Colors. It's powerful. It's very simplistic. I like simplicity. um, so this is simple to me. And so I love to continually revisit it and apply it to my life constantly. I'm always learning something new in this model. And it also is something that I love to share. I want to thank Amy at Big Brothers Big Sisters for allowing me the opportunity to share this information actually last night at the Floyd County Public Library to some families that were able to attend despite the weather. So kudos to them. Thank them for pressing their way and coming out. And it was great to even see the young people that were present engaged. And I told them they're going to have a great school year just by knowing this information. And it will help you not only gain that connection with your young person, your child, or a child that you encounter on a daily basis, but it will also help them feel more comfortable and then us advocating for them. So I'm gonna pull up a couple slides so you can see the model from a visual standpoint. So when you think of Real Colors, this personality temperament models have been around since about 400 BC. Like this is nothing new. It just has evolved over the years from individuals using their expertise and their intellect to better understand people. Better understand people. And what better thing to do is to understand us. Um, you see this model here in Real Colors. There's four colors. There is orange, there is blue, there's green, and there's gold. Four colors. Simple. Keeping it simple. Keeping it simple. Four colors. You see in the middle, there's a circle there, and it says self-image. So I want you to think about as I explain these colors and what they really display in their characteristics, temperament wise, you'll probably pick out the dominant color that you feel like you are. But I do want to start out by saying that we actually house all four colors. No one's exempt from all four. You just may function highly in one or the other at any given time or throughout your life. Okay. Um, so I don't want to give anybody a scapegoat to be like, oh, blue is my least color. Or, no, that's definitely not me. Yeah, there's a portion of you. You just probably have to dive into that place a little more. I want you to think of it like a house or a room. I'm going to try, let me see if this will take me back just a little bit on this slide. This was a presentation that I had given recently in Chicago. So right here. So the objective really is to show you this part, probably my cursor. I can see it, but you can't. And let me just make this bigger and take myself off. Nope, it won't do it. I was trying to make it larger. But the house where it's equal, the blue, green, orange, and gold are all equal. So that is your house. So if you think about you, that is you. Okay, so we have all four. But actually, we're over here on this other side where the rooms are actually a little smaller or bigger. So depending on if you were to take this full assessment, you will be able to see, is my blue room my master bedroom? That's the biggest maybe room for me in my house. And then maybe my green is my second largest room. Maybe that's my dining room. My orange might be my smallest room, which may be the laundry room. And my gold may be just a little office that I have in my room, right? In my house. So you will range as far as the amount of time that you exercise or display one or more of these colors, but we have all four. So I want to reiterate that because sometimes when people go through this model, they think that they're exempt or they have no access to any other color, and that is not the case. So I wanted to start there, and then let me go back to where I really want it to be. So see here, your self-image there is right there in that middle. So when you think about your child, your teen, think of where they may fall in this spectrum. So your orange are your graceful action individuals. They're bold spirited. They have a lot of adaptability about themselves. They're very spontaneous. They're joyous. They're the life of the party, the life of the situation, or the atmosphere. Sometimes people may label them and say they're the class clown. So maybe even we could even reterm some of our descriptiveness that we're giving to our young people, and what we will call maybe labels that we're putting upon them. No, they're bold spirited. That's a better way, probably. They're bold spirited. They're are graceful action individuals, opposed to some of the things that may have a connotation that seems negative. So some of our rewording may assist our young people as we're moving into the school year, because we want them to have a very strong emotional intelligent school year. So think about that. How are we labeling them? How are we describing their actions, right? Um, Instead of saying they're the class clown, maybe we can reword it and say, they're the bold spirited one. They're the one that likes to bring the life to the classroom. Maybe that's a better way to give them the self image that is more positive. Our blues are the individuals that have empathy. They're very authentic, right? They're loving towards others and compassionate, very kind. Um, but some people may say, "Oh, they're just soft. They're just so sensitive." Well, why not say they're very kind individuals? They're authentic. Let's maybe use different language. Our greens are the individuals that have that strong willpower, ingenuity. They like autonomy. They're very intellectual and analytical. In school, these are the people that are called the nerds. Okay. Instead of calling them nerds, let's call them geniuses, right? Changing our language of how we're describing our young people. Our goals are the individuals that are really strong in service. They're very reliable. They're timely individuals. They're very organized. They value rules and regulations, very respectable. So, opposed to calling them rigid or bossy, um, maybe we can change that language and say they're very dependable. This person's dependable. This person is organized. More positive words to outline that. So, when you look at these four, just based off of here, think about, where is your young person? Where is your teen? Where is your child on this spectrum here of the four colors? What do you feel like is their dominant? They have all four, as I mentioned, but what is their dominant personality trait? Once you learn that, that will help you better interact with them. And I'm gonna have some resources I'm gonna share with you, that can hopefully help you navigate that. So back to resources, the R, empower. I'm going to provide some resources that can help you with that. You can always contact our office if you want to take the full assessment with your child. That'd be great. Do it together, do it as a team. If you want to do the full assessment, we have that accessible and available to you. You actually don't even have to come to my office to do that. You can just contact us. Just go to OlivetreePartner.org or .com. Reach out to us. You can contact us, 812-590-3702. Contact our office and we can get that set up for you. And actually, you can just do it online. I can send you the link for that and we can get the full assessment set up for you. This is how I like to look at it, just from a visual. I'm a visual learner, so I'm going to give you a couple things here before I jump off, and I won't keep you long. But when I think of the green, I think of this character here in the Dr. Seuss book. He says, "Vote for me." Why? They ask why, because I am. It's kind of covered by me. Let me because I am green and green people can't lie. And so I thought that was good because it describes some of the attributes of a green, that they're very analytical. They like to dig deep into matters and research and get the facts, get the science, get the depths of a particular subject matter. And so for the most part, that's kind of definitely true. Like they're not going to lie. They're not going to give you fluff. They're not going to give you opinion. They're going to dig deep to find the real truth and the root of the matter. So we can trust that about them. I use the avatar figure or a character from the movie to just show, I felt like just even those characters in that movie and the whole theme and plot is similar to what a blue would be. They're thinking about the bigger picture. They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about legacy. They're thinking about each other, very loyal, tribal, caring, and um, just looking at the bigger picture of people in general, the care of people is when you think of a blue. When you think of the orange, I put the students here in this fan section, like so excited and um, hyping up everything and keeping everything vibrant and lively. When I think of oranges, I think of those individuals. They're just magnetic, right? That's why people typically like to be around them because they're going to provide the fun, they're going to provide the energy to a situation. They're very competitive, they're risk takers. They don't like boxes. And a lot of times, our young people are mislabeled when their predominant personality trait is orange because they are called things like class clown or they, don't want to pay attention and they're super smart. They just do not like boxes. So, how can we nurture and make sure that our young people who are oranges have a great school year? How do we speak their language? And how do we tap into the best part of them without stifling that? And then our goals, I use Big Bird, because the caption under this picture had pretty much everything Big Bird does and the ability to multitask. And that's what our goals can do. They're able to multitask, they're able to get things done. If you give them something, they are committed to it, they're going to be structured with it, they're going to be very stringent to the rules of what you gave them to accomplish it, and it's going to be done. You can trust that. So someone who is highly gold and that is their predominant personality trait, that's what you can trust for them. So where does your child fall? Once again, when you're looking at these in a different perspective, where do you think your child, your teen, your young person falls so that you can better relate and connect? Not attention seekers, but connection seekers. How can we help them connect? So think about that. These are some of the strengths of each color. Let's look at these real quick so that we can be very clear that they're strengths, they're not weaknesses. Because the oranges are fun, that is not a weakness. How do we utilize that? I'll give you a good example about my training in Chicago. When I went there, there was one gentleman in there that he brought so much energy to the room. It was great. It was refreshing for me as a trainer. And we took a break. And when we came back, I allowed him, I said, hey, come up. I recognized he had something that I didn't have. Orange is my least color, but I recognized that that was something that was coming out of him. And so I was like, can you come up here and help me bring some energy and allow people to kind of shake off the after lunch slug that comes upon us? And so he did something so fun. It was real simple, but it was fun. Everybody enjoyed it. They got back to life from like sinking from after lunch, and it was great. And so that's the strength of that individual. So I utilize a strength. So when I think about our young people, how do we utilize that as a strength and not label it or suppress it as a weakness because we don't want to deal with their liveliness? They're very adaptable. They're persuasive. Yes, they are. No rules, right? We know that that's a part of life. So what we have to do is show them, yes, you do have gold in you. How do we rise that to the occasion when needed? That we have to follow the rule right now because the teacher is wanting you to finish this assignment. But in the same situation of us asking you to conform to that, then I'm also going to utilize you to maybe help me do something creative that will feed the dominant personality trait of yourself. So give and take there. And those are skills. Those are skills to be learned for sure. And I'm trying to my best to like get this information into schools and help even our teachers utilize it to not only help themselves, but to help our students. This is very simple, but very important and powerful to meeting their needs because all of them are different. Um, so all the things there, no fear, they take risk. All of those things are powerful. When you think about our blues, those are individuals that love communication with others. They're very family oriented, very sincere, authentic, loyal, loving, all of the understanding, all of those things. They're not soft. They're not weak. They're not too sensitive. Who are the too sensitive? Well, we probably all need to get a little too sensitive so we can be kind to each other. So using more positive words and adjectives that will boost and foster the strengths and values of our young people. When we think about greens, very independent, they're logical, very intellectual. They're going to make sure they are diving into the analytics of things. They're going to ask questions. So, that young person that's asking you 50 questions over and over, and it can be frustrating, just remember you may be nurturing the next leader that is going to invent something to take this world to the next level because greens are geniuses. So, and sometimes they're okay alone. They like that alone time. And sometimes we think something's wrong with them, but they're thinkers, they're processors. Okay. So, consider that if your young person is in that category there. Once again, if you want to know for sure, get with us so we can definitely take the assessment. Your goals organized, right? They're into schedules, they're honest, punctual, value like tradition or the things that have been outlined and set forth before them. um, Consistent structure, they're hard workers, sometimes hard on themselves because they're like they want it just perfect. So if you have a child that really gets frustrated and upset when they don't maybe get the grade that they want, or they don't get a project completed necessarily, the way that they want it or in time, and they get anxiety levels or they fall into levels of depression from that. You may be dealing with a very high functioning gold, a bright gold is what I call it. And that is a good strength, but we have to help that young person harness that to where it doesn't self-sabotage their success. Because they are such hard workers, and we have to teach them how to play. Like, let it go. It's okay. Put that down. Rest, play, enjoy. Come back. It'll be here, and their best is perfect. So, thinking about that, look at this, the strengths and values. Where does your young person fall? I'm just giving you visuals so you can start thinking about it, since we're not necessarily taking the full assessment. I'm just giving you an overview of the model, and hopefully you will join me by doing the assessment online, or you can also do it in person at the office if you want more in-depth explanation of it. If you do it online, you'll do it online, and then I'll get the results, and then we will do a follow-up Zoom or in person, whatever works for you, to actually talk about the results and what it really means. So look that over real quick before our turn. Where does your young person fall? This is going to help us. Let me tell you all a funny story why I have this up. I tell this everywhere because it's so it is like the proven story of how this model is effective and it works. And it's true to its research established over the years. When my two sons, right now they're 21 and 20, but when they were 4 and 3, I was driving down Charlestown Road. It's here locally for those who are local. I was driving down Charlestown Road by Zestos, so some people may relate where that is. And just minding my business, having just riding along. My two boys in their car seat. I thought I get pulled over, and the cop was like, "I pulled you over because your son is out of his car seat." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I knew who it was because this particular child is the one that you show him something, he gets it. He's a risk taker, all those things. Um, and you all can probably guess from our conversation, yes, he is an orange. I'll go ahead and tell you up front. my oldest son. And when the cop asked me to roll my window down so he could talk to him, he said, "Hey, young man, the toddler talk. You need to be in your car seat." And he was like, "What's your name?" And my son said, "JJ." You all, his name is Darren. His name is not JJ. And I was like, wow, he just lied to the officer, right? Um, so that gave me pause because I was like, number one, he's stealing people's identities. This is not good. We really are gonna have to bring in and rein in his personality and his temperament. Um, but even at that age, it was already like prevalent. You see it coming out. So I know this is true and factual to how your personality, like your temperament, is something you're born with. At 4, no one taught him that. That was just instinctively. That was just a part of who he is, and the temperament he was born with. So your temperament's what you're born with. Your environment shapes your personality. Okay. So we knew then we had to make sure he was in a good environment, that we had to nurture and rein that in and show him how to utilize it for good, and not in a way that was going in a direction, of course, that we don't want it to go. But my other son, he was in his car seat, just minding his business. He was fine, and he's a blue, and he's always been the laid back, the chilled one, very loyal, very understanding. He's that lovable person. And the other one, that my oldest, is the go-getter. He is a risk taker. That he took a risk and just lied to the officer. It's like, why don't put me in a box? He loves challenge, all of those attributes, and those are strengths of his. And my other son, Jordan, he has wonderful strengths that makes him who he is. So parents who are watching this, that you have more than one child, you can't like peg them and make them the same. Look at this model and see, what do you have in your household? You may have a child that's an orange, and another child that's a gold, and another child that's a green, and you might have all 4 dominant personality traits functioning in all 4 of your children. How do you work through that? We can help you with that, because we want our young people to have a very emotional, intelligent school year. I keep reiterating that. And they're not attention seeking, they are connection seeking. And how can we connect them to this information so they can feel more secure and confident in their self image and who they are growing to be as a young man or young woman? This is important. So let us hopefully help you along that path if you desire to. These are strengths. Remember, these are strengths for these colors. They are not deficits, they are not weaknesses. Okay. So I think those were the main things that I wanted to show visually for you. I had one more thing, but once I put it up, I really couldn't see it. So I know that you probably can't see it, but what I will do is put it in the comments as an attachment, and you can download it. This is a characteristics chart. It will show you what certain colors are like. Let me try to pull it up bigger if possible. Let's see. Hmm, it won't enlarge for me, so I apologize. But like what a color is esteemed for. I think the blues, I can't even hardly read it, sorry. Esteemed for good listening. They have great listening skills. The golds are esteemed for being dependable. The greens are esteemed for their new insights that they provide. Oranges are esteemed for um, being the fun, lively one and taking risk. And then there's other categories along here as well. The reason I want to give this to you is because if you kind of feel and sense where your child falls, or where a young person that you're trying to gain connection with falls, this is a good chart to say, how do I relate to them in certain areas? How do I pull them in? And not based on me and what I desire for them to fit, but how do I connect to them where they are, where their biggest room is, where their biggest room is. And let me go back real quick to this slide and just show you my house Where is their biggest room? Yeah, they have all four, but where is their biggest room so that I can meet them there in that space if they allow me into that room so that I can relate to them. And you have to have a key sometimes to get into that room. And what I'm trying to provide are resources here that can give you some keys that will help unlock connection with our young people. So hopefully this was helpful. Just want to give a overview. Normally this is a longer like workshop, like we put the work in. But I felt like this will be a great introduction so that you can start thinking about it. You can gain that connection with your child. Also awareness for you. Where do you fall in that spectrum? And then if you like, we can talk about, let's just say you're green and your child is an orange. How can we build that bond there when there sometimes can be a clash? Because sometimes it's not that they're being defiant. I want to say that again. It's not that they're being defiant at times. It's personality driven, but how can we build that connection and understanding to make the relationship better for them and help their self image, their self identity, and increase their emotional intelligence? So, thank you so much for those who were able to either watch this live or watch it on the replay. Hopefully, something sparked a desire for you to learn a little bit more about this model. I would love to share for you. Just contact us at olivetreepartner.com or .org, either one. And you can look under our training section. You'll see real colors. Just send us a message and let's connect so that we can help our young people connect better to their future. Thank you for helping us embrace, empower, and elevate leaders of our future. Have a good evening.